Good prompts for combination active participation always involve two cues, one inviting covert active participation and the other inviting overt active participation. Take a look at these teacher prompts and find the words that prompt covert and overt participation from students. Imagine just for a moment that you are Jonas Salk and you have just discovered how to cure polio. Think about how you would concisely summarize the cure for this life-threatening epidemic. Wait, your lab assistant has just returned from lunch. Summarize the cure for this life-threatening epidemic for him. Circle the words in this first example that invite covert and overt participation. Here's another one. Everyone find one example of courage in the story. Point to it when you have found it. Here again, circle the words that invite covert and overt participation from students. How about one more? Without discussing it with anyone, decide who your favorite character was in the story. Now, describe your favorite character to the person sitting next to you and explain why he or she is your favorite. Remember, you are circling the words that invite covert and overt active participation from students. In the first example, both imagine and think about are covert cues. Summarize is the overt cue. Don't be fooled by the word wait. There is no mental processing happening as a result of the word wait. In the second example, the word find is the covert prompt. The words point to it are the overt prompt. In the last example, it's decide that's the covert prompt, and describe and explain that are overt prompts. Each of the three types of active participation give the teacher an effective way to get all students actively involved in processing questions or activities that are at the heart of good learning. Since variety helps to maintain student interest and engagement, teachers have good reason to vary the types of active participation they use in a lesson. T is for throughout the lesson. How much active participation is enough? Is one opportunity really good enough? Is 6 too many? When it comes to the matter of how much active participation teachers should include in the lesson, the guideline is clear. Active participation should occur throughout the lesson. Educational researcher Robert Marzano says, actively processing information is the beginning point of learning. He contends that students must practice new learning 24 times with feedback before they will own it at the 80% mastery level. His comments make it clear that once is not enough. Think about how many times students must use new information in different ways in order to learn it. The skilled teacher must give students multiple ways to mentally and physically process information throughout a lesson in order for students to learn that information well. In order for teachers to claim that they are using active participation effectively, the examples of active participation should be evident throughout the lesson. Sometimes teachers are concerned that implementing such definitive critical attributes repeatedly throughout a lesson may lead to student complaints that lessons are monotonous and even seem scripted. The truth is that teachers control the variety of active participation in their lessons. When it comes to inviting active participation, don't get in a rut. Active participation artists know that variety is the spice of life. You can vary the words you use to invite active participation. You can vary your use of overt, covert, and combination participation. You can also vary how students write, who they talk to, how they gesture, etc. You are the one in control of variety. Another frequently voiced teacher concern has to do with resistant students. You've no doubt heard the old adage, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. No matter how expert you are at using all 5 critical attributes to design perfect opportunities for active participation, no matter how good you are at inviting all students to participate simultaneously, And no matter how diligent you are at making sure that active participation is expertly woven throughout your lessons, you may find that you have some students who resist participating. What can you do to break down student resistance? You may know that level of concern is one of the variables of motivation. If you increase a student's level of concern, he or she will be more motivated to participate in answering questions and doing activities that lead to learning. There are 3 easy ways to raise students' level of concern. Number 1, use public display to hold individuals or groups accountable for participation. Number 2, monitor student participation in activities. And number 3, use wait time with questions. Let's look at how each of these strategies can be used to raise students' level of concern. One thing that quickly increases a level of concern is individual or group public display. For group public display, have all students read aloud, write on a marker board, write on an overhead transparency, use gestures, or give choral responses that can be seen and measured by you in the class. For individual public display, call on individual students randomly to sample their participation. Just remember, don't ask for volunteers. Don't only sample the top 25%. And following group work, don't ask a student for his or her answer. Rather, ask what his or her partner said. Another thing that quickly increases level of concern is teacher presence. Your proximity as you walk around the classroom, observing and listening in on students' participation, will also raise their level of concern and increase their motivation. Students immediately sit up and take notice when they know that you are walking around to learn how many students participate, how much they participate, how long they participate, and how well they participate.